G'day. It's been a little while between updates, but this is where we currently stand. Lane colours have been painted. I've given them a light sand to make sure there's no paint burrs either side of the slot. So when the top coat goes down, there'll be no lumps either side of the braid, which would be great. Just about to paint the pits, and then I'll get onto the track surface, but I've got to drill the holes for sensors, which is not a small job because I've got one hole for every flipper. And I've got about 16 of them, so I've got to measure them out, get them all right, the right length from the tip of the flipper to the hole, and go from there. So I'll paint this and we'll start drilling some holes. Cheers. I've done the pits in a grey, but I might have a crack at trying to do a concrete colour, which is something I've never done before. So I've been watching some videos on YouTube, and it's pretty straightforward, but it's a bit of a nightmare and a bit scary at the same time. So the worst that can happen is I bugger it up and I paint back over it in boring grey, which is what the last track was anyway. But now I've got this other brainwave. I've had this idea for a long time now. How cool would it be to have your cars parked in the pit bays and they can drive out onto the track? Look good? Will it work? Yeah, possibly. Is it doable? Yeah. A lot of bloody buggerising around though, trying to get the little slot. So I've just been playing around here. It's a little. I've got to mark out some slots. I'm going to actually stupidly route a couple of slots for the cars to sit on the track level in the pits. But I've got a little curve here. I'm not committed yet whether I'm going to do it or not. It'll look cool. Whether it's actually worth doing, I don't know. Whether it's worth doing times 7, probably not, but stupidly I probably will. And I've got another idea to try and create some expansion joints in the concrete to give it a little bit more realistic look. I got no idea what I'm doing, but there's only one way to learn, isn't there? If you don't make mistakes, you never learn. If you don't make a mistake in the process, that's a pretty good achievement, so we'll see what happens. But I'm going to have a little bit of a play with these lines, work out slots to route for the cars to sit in the pit bays, and whether it's worthwhile doing a little slot into the pit bay so the car can drive itself out. What I'd love to do ideally, if I had more room at the back, is have down at the entrance of the pits, have a flipper that takes the cars down the back of the pit bays, and have a flipper for every bay so they can drive in and park, and then drive out when they need to. But I haven't got that room with this track, so we'll see what happens in the future, whether I bother building another track like this. It's a lot of work to get to where I am now, and still a fair bit ahead of me. All those solenoids over there and those little packets just over there. I need a lot more of those yet. And so I'll have a play around with this and we'll see whether it's going to work or not. If not, we'll just paint back over it in grey and have it nice and boring and dull. But if it works, yay for me, because I'm not real good at scenery, but there's only one way to learn. Let's have a crack. So let's have it a go. So I'm going to draw the lines with the square, so it's square off the pit lane at least, for the slots for the cars to sit in the bays. That's pretty good. So I'll just put a line there, and so they're going to be pretty big pit garages. They're going to be, I had an idea to use another fellow who designed these really cool pit garages, but I'm not confident enough to route them or to cut them out with a jigsaw myself, so unless I can get them done by CNC, we'll put that to bed for now. But who knows, we'll see what happens. I've asked someone whether they can do it or not, and I'm just waiting for them. No pressure time wise, just whether I get a yes or a no. So I've got those two marked there, so I guess what I need to do is work out the front of the bays is there, so they're going to be very deep. So that's a Scalia V8 supercar. That's where the front of the building's going to be there. So they're going to be pretty deep, pretty healthy, so there'll be a lot of room inside to have, well, I've got heaps of figures I've got to do something with. But so not sure whether this one or that one's going to work out better for... It might be this one actually. This one might work out better just coming down and going around like that, rather than this one having to have such a sort of aggressive curve to get back in line with that. This one can sort of go, and then this one, and so on. No, I don't know. Just having to play around with it, so I'll stop this for now and have a bit more of a think and a bit more of a look, and we'll see what we can decide. And if the router comes out, we're going ahead. If not, that's the way. Okay, I've measured out all the buildings with the slots that I'm going to potentially route for the cars. This is where they'll sit. Looks pretty cool actually, pretty impressive. So imagine this, a big pit building with 14 cars sitting in the pits ready to go. These are 1/32 scale cars too, just for size comparison. But if I was to make 1/24, swap that out for the BRM Porsche, still plenty of room. That'd look pretty cool, I reckon. Now, do I route the little slot to come out so the car can drive on the track? Yeah, I reckon it would look pretty good if I do. Now what I might do with this one here, with the car that's in stationary slot, is have it on some Go Jacks or some on a little stand so the mechanics can work on it, or look like that anyway. So this one, probably usually going from this one here to there, this one to there, and so on. So it'll be the same slot down each side. Cool. Well, look out, the router's out, so stupidly I'm going to tackle this. Should have done it before I painted, but here we are. So I'm going to have to repaint it after I cut these slots out, because it's going to make a bloody mess. Here we go. Always check your nails are in nice and good. You don't want the router to move while you're going, because that's going to create even more bloody work. Righto, here we go, make a mess. One. Now need to see me do all these. Let's do a bit of time lapse to speed things up. Okay, so the routing's finished. I've contemplated routing this one in there as well, so both cars can drive out, but it's just a bit over the top, a bit excessive. So one's good enough. That one goes there, into there, that one there, and so on, so on. And let me to tell you how it works. You can see they drive out into the pit lane and they can go onto the track from there. So what I envision is having all the cars sitting in the pits, pressing a button on the computer, and they all drive out at the same time. That'd be pretty cool. So now I'm going to mix up some light colour grey, paint this again, and I'll try a concrete effect. Well, we'll see how we go with that, but can't hurt to try. We'll just paint over it with the other stuff if it doesn't work. Okay, so we're going to mix some of the grey that I originally used, as it was, and put a bit of white in it to make it a bit lighter. Hopefully that'll look okay. So if I stuff it up, that's right, we'll just do. White. Just going to wing it and hopefully it comes out right. A little bit in, mix it around, see how it looks. If we need to add more, we add more in. The best mixing tool, but that's what I've got at the moment, so I'm going to use the brush to paint in the slots. So I might as well get it wet. I'll mix it in a flash. That looks pretty good, but I reckon I might chuck a little bit more in there and get it a little bit lighter. That way, if these effects work as I've been watching on videos and whatnot, it should look pretty cool. But that might have to be for another video, because I've got to watch more, do a bit more research yet. Alright, a bit more white. That should hopefully do it. We'll get off there. I watched one video where a bloke used heavily diluted white paint and got the surface really wet, so it actually pooled, and let it dry. Well, he used a heat gun to dry it quickly, but I just let it dry because I'm a heat gun, and did some effects over top of that. That looked really good. Just gonna see how we go. I'm not gonna get too extravagant because in real life, I guess, in a real pit bay, 9 times out of 10 I'd imagine the team would probably cover the floor with the colour of their team, like a red Ferrari, orange McLaren, etc. Blue for Red Bull. Righto, that looks not too bad, so I'll grab a roller. Actually, I'm going to use the brush first. I sort of undercoated those slots, but I'm going to paint this stuff in there. So when we roll it, that's a bit lighter, that's better. Spread that down. Trying to keep it square so it gives it the concrete slab look. Trying to wipe away some of the excess, but I don't want any lumps and bumps where there shouldn't be. Looks good from this angle, but who knows from the other angle. The camera probably tells a different story. Okay, so I reckon I might fast forward this, it's pretty boring. More paint in the roller. Right, I don't know if this is going to work or not, but we'll have a crack. Just going to carve some lines to simulate expansion joints in the concrete. So I need to get this as square as I can. Now, this might look crap. If it does, we'll just paint over it. One. Now we're spacing out 186 mil each, about there. See how that looks. Right, you get the idea. Right, I'm just going to try something. This might or might not work. I'm going to water down some black paint, dilute it, and I'm going to try and get it in those lines I just cut with the knife. See if it gives like a expansion joint line. So I'll go paint in there. Now this shit doesn't mix very well. There we go. How's it? A bit more. I need some paper towel to mop up like this. It's going to work or look, but just not very black at all. Some more in there. A bit more. Might not actually do anything, but I had a theory that it would, but who knows? Try it here. I'll mop up the excess there, that might work. Let it dry overnight, see how it looks. That's good, it's running in the crack, so. Yeah, I don't know. Just chuck it in here and see how it comes out. I am by no means at all a scenery person. I might have seen this in someone's video actually. They did this and it looked pretty cool, but whether mine turns out like that or not, totally different story. And then after this, I'll try the effects splash, like the white and the cream and the black spots and whatnot. See how that comes out. Alright, now I'll take the excess off. Cool. That's a little bit darker than the concrete colour, so that's a good start. That line there is actual joint in the wood. I was going to use that as a expansion joint, but meh. I was also going to make the square smaller too, but that's just too much work. I can't be bothered. So bigger is better. Oops. Obviously you get it in the crack. A bigger brush would probably go better. Holds more liquid. It's just one of my figure brushes, so it'll do. Cool. Mop up the excess. What I might even do, if I come out tomorrow and it looks crap, I might give it another go with the black. So, we'll see what happens. It could probably be darker actually. This is supposed to be like a shadow where no light gets into, so to speak. And a little bit darker. What I want to do is chuck a bit more black in. Why not? And that'll do. A bit more. Like I said, if it looks crap at the end, I can always paint over it and have it just boring grey. But don't know unless you try. So I'll chuck this over here now. More paint, more water. I was nearly going to route that one as well, so I have two bays that can drive on the track, but I thought there's no point. It's just getting too bloody excessive now and too extravagant. Creating too much work. Look at that one. I don't know, I'll do it again. One is better than none. But the car can sit there for looks. Alright, mop that up. I should chuck some, that's a bit of an error there, I should chuck some black in that to give it like a skid mark type effect, but I don't know. It's going to take a while, so I might cut this and just come back to it when I finish with it. See what it looks like. Let's finish this one. That's cool, I'm sort of getting the water to pool in the crack now, which will probably look a bit darker. Should use the bigger brush. across. I've got the excess. Doesn't matter if there's a little bit left over because I'm going to spray crap all over it. Alright, we'll come back to this when I'm done, see what it looks like. Okay, so there's more expansion joints now, and I've added a bit of watered down black to simulate oil leaks and whatnot, so whether it looks any good or not, we'll see what happens when it dries. It's like, I'm sure someone else can do a better job. I might try some white flicks, see how that turns out. Alright, this is going to have to do. Looks average. I'm sure there's a lot better looking concrete jobs out there, but I've got to clear coat again, so that'll give it a bit more of a shine. And ultimately the building is going to be sitting on top of it anyway, so you won't see much of it. So that will do, rather than just plain old grey. A little bit of oil stain, some light skid marks right there. Tried to mix it up, make it a little bit look a little bit different everywhere. So that's what it is. Thanks for watching. Forgot to mention, the braid has arrived, so I've got to get some paint on this thing to stop all the geckos from shitting on it. Little bastards. See, look. There. And over there. And a few up there. So I'll have to clean that off and paint it and get this braid on and get some power down. Yoo-hoo.